My dear brothers and sisters, let me speak to you honestly today. Some of you are exhausted, not because life is hard, but because you are loving something that is slowly breaking you. You wake up tired, you pray, but your heart feels heavy. You smile in front of people, yet when you are alone, your chest feels tight. And you keep saying, maybe it will change. Maybe if I give more. Maybe if I stay patient. Patience is noble. Loyalty is beautiful. Love is a blessing. But Islam does not ask you to destroy yourself in the name of love. There is a difference between patience for the sake of Allah and suffering because you are afraid to let go. Today, I want to remind you of something important. Loving yourself is not selfish. Letting go is not failure. And walking away from what harms your heart can be an act of faith. One, not everything you love is good for you. My dear brothers and sisters, this is a truth that many people struggle to accept because it challenges the way the heart works. Just because you love something does not mean it is good for you. The heart is powerful, but it is not always wise. It becomes attached quickly, and once it attaches, it defends that attachment even when it is hurting. This is part of being human. We grow emotionally comfortable with what is familiar, even if what is familiar is painful. We learn to tolerate things we should never have accepted simply because they have been part of our lives for too long. Over time, pain starts to feel normal. Disrespect feels like something you can manage. Emotional wounds become something you tell yourself you can live with. You say, at least it's not worse. Or, this is just how relationships are. Or, maybe this is my test. Slowly, without realizing it, you lower your standards, not because Allah asked you to, but because your heart became afraid of change. But Allah did not create the heart to be imprisoned by attachment. He created it to recognize truth, peace, and goodness. Allah does not measure relationships by how intense your emotions are. He does not ask how much you cried, how much you sacrificed, or how long you waited. Allah looks at what that relationship does to your soul. Does it bring you closer to Him? Or does it pull you away? Does it increase your peace? Or does it constantly disturb your heart? Does it strengthen your iman? Or does it make worship feel heavy and distant? These are the questions that matter. Many people confuse emotional attachment with love. Love in Islam is meant to be nurturing. It is meant to protect dignity, encourage growth, and bring tranquility. When love becomes a source of constant anxiety, fear, insecurity, and emotional exhaustion, then something is wrong. Love should not make you feel small. It should not make you doubt your worth. It should not push you into constant sadness while you keep calling it patience. Ask yourself honestly, without excuses and without fear, does this relationship bring you peace, iman, and dignity? Or does it leave you mentally tired, spiritually distracted, and emotionally drained? Do you feel safe being yourself, or are you constantly walking on eggshells? Do you feel valued, or do you feel like you must keep proving your worth to be accepted? If something consistently breaks your heart, weakens your faith, and robs you of peace, then loving it blindly is not devotion. It is self-neglect. Islam does not teach you to abandon yourself for the sake of anyone. Allah never asked you to destroy your emotional well-being to prove your sincerity. He never asked you to remain in pain just to show that you are loyal or patient. In fact, Allah is Al-Rahman, the most merciful, and His mercy includes wanting ease, balance, and protection for your heart. Some people say, but I love them, as if love alone justifies everything. My dear brothers and sisters, love without wisdom becomes a burden. Love without boundaries becomes harm. Love without self-respect turns into suffering. The Quran repeatedly reminds us that Allah wants ease for us, not hardship. He wants mercy, not misery. When something in your life continuously drags you away from peace and closer to despair, you must pause and reflect. Not every attachment is a blessing. Some attachments are tests, some are lessons, some are warnings that you have ignored for too long. There is also a danger in romanticizing pain. Some people believe that the more they suffer, the more rewarded they will be. This is a misunderstanding. Allah rewards patience when it is aligned with righteousness and wisdom, not when it is mixed with self-harm. Enduring pain that Allah never commanded you to endure is not worship. Staying silent while your heart is being crushed is not piety. Allah gave you intellect for a reason. He He gave you intuition for a reason. When your heart is constantly uneasy, when your soul feels unsettled, when your iman feels weakened because of a person or situation, those are not random feelings. Those are signs. Ignoring them does not make you stronger. It makes you disconnected from the guidance Allah placed within you. Sometimes people stay because they fear loneliness more than pain. They think holding on to something broken is better than facing the unknown. But my dear brothers and sisters, fear should never be the foundation of love. A relationship built on fear will always drain you because fear keeps you stuck while faith moves you forward. Remember this clearly. Allah wants mercy for you, not misery. He wants your heart to feel safe in obedience, not suffocated by attachment. Loving yourself enough to question what is hurting you is not weakness. It is awareness. It is maturity. It is a step toward healing. Not everything you love is meant to stay in your life. Some things enter your heart to teach you a lesson, not to remain forever. When you understand this, you stop fighting reality and you begin aligning your choices with what Allah wants for you, not what your fear wants to cling to. And when you finally choose mercy over misery, clarity over confusion, and faith over fear, you will realize that letting go was never a loss. It was protection. 2. Patience is not meant to destroy you. My dear brothers and sisters, patience is one of the most misunderstood concepts in our deen, and because of this misunderstanding, many people are suffering silently while believing they are being righteous. Patience does not mean accepting every form of pain without question. It does not mean staying in situations that slowly destroy your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. It does not mean remaining silent while your heart is being broken again and again. Sabr in Islam was never designed to crush you. Allah praises patience, but He also teaches wisdom, balance, and self-respect. Patience is not the absence of action. Patience is the ability to respond correctly even when emotions are heavy and circumstances are difficult. It is not passive suffering. It is conscious endurance guided by faith. Many people confuse patience with fear. They stay because they are afraid of being alone. They endure because they are afraid of change. They remain silent because they fear confrontation or judgment. Then they tell themselves, this is sabr. But fear is not sabr. And silence in the face of continuous harm is not virtue. Patience is not staying in a fire and calling it worship. If a situation, relationship, or environment repeatedly harms you, patience does not mean you must remain there forever. It means you turn to Allah for guidance, strength, and clarity, then take steps that protect your soul. Even the Prophet taught us to tie the camel first and then trust Allah. Action and trust go together. One without the other is imbalance. There is a difference between hardship that Allah places in your life to elevate you and harm that continues because you refuse to set boundaries. Illness, loss, and trials that are beyond your control require patience and reliance on Allah, but repeated emotional harm that continues because you stay without change requires reflection, not endurance. Ask yourself honestly, have you been patient while making effort, setting boundaries, communicating clearly, and seeking solutions? Or have you been patient by staying silent, absorbing pain, and hoping something changes without action? One leads to growth. The other leads to emotional exhaustion. Allah does not reward you for staying where you are being crushed. He rewards you for choosing righteousness, wisdom, and self-preservation in a way that pleases Him. When patience becomes an excuse to avoid difficult decisions, it stops being sabr and becomes self-betrayal. Some people say, if I leave, I am failing the test. My dear brothers and sisters, not every test requires you to stay. Sometimes the test is whether you will walk away with dignity. Sometimes the test is whether you will trust Allah enough to choose peace over familiarity. Patience is not measured by how long you can suffer. It is measured by how firmly you hold on to Allah while doing what is right. If your patience is leading you away from prayer, draining your energy, weakening your iman, and filling your heart with resentment, then something is wrong. True sabr does not make you bitter. It makes you stronger. It does not empty you. It stabilizes you. It does not destroy your sense of self. It refines it. Allah is Al-Adl, the most just. He does not demand that you sacrifice your well-being to prove your faith. He does not want you broken in the name of patience. He wants you balanced, grounded and aware. When patience turns into self-destruction, it has lost its purpose. My dear brothers and sisters, patience should bring you closer to Allah, not further from yourself. It should give you clarity, not confusion. It should give you resilience, not numbness. Understand this clearly. Leaving what harms you can be an act of patience. Setting boundaries can be an act of patience. Choosing healing over hurt can be an act of patience. Trusting Allah enough to step into the unknown instead of staying in pain can be the highest form of sabr. Patience is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to protect your faith, strengthen your heart, and guide you toward what Allah knows is better for you, even when it is difficult to accept. 3. Self-love is part of amana. My dear brothers and sisters, there is something very important that many people overlook when they speak about sacrifice, love, and devotion. You were not created to neglect yourself. Your soul, your heart, and your emotional well-being are an amana entrusted to you by Allah. An amana is not something optional, it is a responsibility. It is something you will be questioned about. Just as you are accountable for how you treat others, you are also accountable for how you treat yourself. You are not permitted to harm your body, and you are not permitted to destroy your heart either. Emotional damage is still damage even if it is invisible to others. Some people believe that self-love is selfish. They think that caring for their own emotional health means they lack humility or faith. This is a misunderstanding. Islam does not teach self-hatred. It teaches balance. It teaches dignity. It teaches mercy, including mercy toward yourself. When Allah honored the children of Adam, He honored you too. That honor does not disappear just because you are in love, attached, or afraid to let go. Your worth is not determined by how much pain you can endure. Your worth was given to you by Allah long before anyone entered your life. Self-love in Islam does not mean ego, arrogance, or placing yourself above others. It means recognizing that you have limits. It means acknowledging that your heart can only carry so much before it starts to break. It means understanding that constantly ignoring your pain does not make you righteous, it makes you exhausted. When you stay in situations that repeatedly crush your self-worth, silence your voice and drain your spirit, you are neglecting the amana Allah placed in your care. You may tell yourself that you are being patient, loyal, or forgiving, but if that choice is slowly eroding your sense of dignity and peace, then something is wrong. Allah does not benefit from your suffering. He does not gain anything when you feel worthless, anxious, or broken. Allah is Al-Ghani, free of need. The one who suffers in silence is you. Ask yourself honestly, if someone you loved deeply was in the same situation you are in, would you advise them to stay and keep hurting, or would you tell them they deserve better? Often, we extend compassion to others while denying it to ourselves. This imbalance is not righteousness, it is neglect. Your heart was not created to be a dumping ground for unresolved pain. It was created to carry faith, hope, love, and tranquility. When it is constantly occupied by stress, fear, and emotional wounds, it struggles to function as it was meant to. Self-love also means setting boundaries. Boundaries are not cruelty, they are clarity. They define where your responsibility ends and where someone else's begins. Without boundaries, love turns into sacrifice without limits, and sacrifice without limits leads to burnout and resentment. You can be kind without being weak. You can forgive without staying close to what hurts you. You can wish someone well and still choose distance. Islam does not demand that you remain accessible to harm in order to prove your good character. Some people feel guilty for choosing themselves. They feel selfish for stepping back. They worry about what others will think. But my dear brothers and sisters, on the day of judgment, those people will not answer for your heart. You will. Allah will not ask you why you did not destroy yourself for others. He will ask whether you protected the trust He gave you. He will ask whether you acted with wisdom, honesty, and sincerity. Self-love also strengthens your relationship with Allah. When your heart is constantly wounded, it becomes harder to focus in prayer, harder to feel khushu, harder to trust. Healing is not a luxury, it is a necessity for spiritual growth. A heart that feels safe is more open to remembrance. A heart that feels respected is more capable of gratitude. Choosing self-love does not mean you are abandoning faith. Often, it means you are finally aligning your life with it. You are choosing honesty over denial. You are choosing responsibility over avoidance. You are choosing long-term well-being over short-term comfort. Remember this clearly. Allah did not create you to be consumed by pain. He created you to worship Him with a heart that is alive, not numb. Protecting that heart is not selfishness, it is stewardship. When you begin to treat your emotional health as an amana, your decisions change. You stop chasing what drains you. You stop excusing what diminishes you. You stop confusing endurance with righteousness. And when you honor the trust Allah placed within you, you are not walking away from love. You are walking toward balance, dignity, and the kind of peace that allows your faith to breathe again. In 4, letting go does not mean you failed. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the biggest reasons people remain in painful situations is not love, but fear. The fear of admitting that something did not work. The fear of feeling like all the effort, time, and emotion they invested has been wasted. The fear of saying, I tried and it still ended. Let me say this clearly. Letting go does not mean you failed. Failure is not defined by an ending. Failure is refusing to learn, refusing to grow, and refusing to be honest with yourself. Many things in life are not meant to last forever. That does not make them mistakes. It makes them chapters. Some people think that if something ends, it means their prayers were not accepted or their intentions were not sincere. This is a dangerous way of thinking. Allah does not measure success by permanence. He measures it by sincerity and wisdom. You can do everything with the right intention, make sincere dua, give your best effort, and still be guided away from something that is not good for you. Ending is not always loss. Often, it is protection. Ask yourself this: did you grow? Did you become more aware of your needs, your limits, and your values? Did you learn what you will no longer accept? If the answer is yes, then this was not failure. This was development. Some people stay because they feel ashamed to walk away. They worry about what others will say. They worry about being judged as weak, impatient, or ungrateful. But my dear brothers and sisters, people will not carry your pain for you. They will not wake up with your anxiety. They will not stand before Allah on your behalf. Your life is not a performance for others, it is a trust from Allah. Letting go does not erase the good you did. Every act of kindness, patience, and sincerity you showed is recorded with Allah. None of it is wasted. None of it disappears because a chapter ends. Allah is Al-Adl, the most just. He does not discard your effort just because the outcome changed. Some people confuse perseverance with stubbornness. Perseverance is staying committed to what is right. Stubbornness is staying attached to what is harming you simply because you have already invested in it. Wisdom is knowing the difference. There is also the trap of thinking, I have already come this far, but distance traveled does not justify continuing in the wrong direction. Islam teaches you to correct your course when clarity comes, not to keep walking blindly out of pride or fear. Letting go requires courage, it requires humility, it requires trusting that Allah knows what you do not. Sometimes Allah removes something not because you are undeserving, but because you are being redirected. What feels like rejection can be divine redirection. Remember, even the prophets experienced endings, losses, and separations. These moments were not signs of failure. They were part of a greater plan that unfolded with time and patience. My dear brothers and sisters, do not tie your worth to an outcome you cannot control. Your responsibility is effort with sincerity. The result belongs to Allah. When something ends despite your best effort, it does not mean you were wrong to try. It means your journey required a different path. Letting go does not mean you gave up. It means you listened. It means you chose honesty over denial. It means you respected yourself enough to stop bleeding quietly. Some endings hurt because they break expectations, not because they destroy your future. The pain you feel does not mean you made the wrong decision. often it means you made a necessary one. Trust this deeply. Allah does not close a door without opening another, even if you cannot see it yet. The wisdom may take time to understand, but clarity always follows sincerity. When you let go with faith, you are not walking into emptiness. You are walking into space. Allah is preparing for something better, whether that better is peace, healing, strength, or a new beginning you are not yet ready to imagine. Letting go does not mean you failed. Sometimes it means you finally chose yourself for the sake of Allah. 5. Peace is a sign from Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, Allah communicates with us in many ways, and one of the most subtle yet powerful ways is through the state of the heart. When something is right for you, Allah places tranquility within it. When something is wrong, the heart becomes unsettled, restless and heavy, even if everything looks fine on the surface. Peace is not random, it is a sign. Many people ignore the sign because they are afraid of what it might be telling them. They stay in confusion and call it commitment. They stay in anxiety and call it love. They stay in emotional chaos and convince themselves that this is normal. But deep down, the heart knows when something is not aligned. Allah created the heart with a natural inclination toward balance and truth. When you are moving in the right direction, even if the path is difficult, there is a sense of inner stability. When you are moving away from what is right, even if the situation appears comfortable, the heart feels uneasy. This unease is not weakness, it is awareness. Some people say, but it feels hard to leave. Of course it does. Change is painful, detachment hurts, but pain and lack of peace are not the same. Pain can exist alongside peace. Hard choices can be peaceful even when they are heavy. Constant anxiety, fear, and emotional exhaustion are signs of misalignment, not righteousness. Ask yourself honestly, does your heart feel calm when you make excuses to stay, or does it feel calmer when you imagine stepping away? Many people notice that the moment they consider leaving what hurts them, there is a strange sense of relief mixed with fear. That relief is important. It is not betrayal. It is clarity beginning to surface. Allah does not guide through constant chaos. He does not lead you through endless confusion. Guidance brings light, even when it demands sacrifice. When your heart is always racing, always worried, always bracing for the next wound, something is wrong. Peace does not mean the absence of problems. It means the presence of trust. It means your heart feels safe enough to breathe. If a relationship or situation steals that safety, it is draining your ability to function emotionally and spiritually. Many people delay decisions because they are waiting for certainty. They want a sign that is loud and undeniable. But often Allah's signs are gentle, a restless heart, a heavy chest, a constant sense of unease. These are not meant to be ignored. They are invitations to reflect. When you move away from what harms you and you feel lighter, even briefly, that is not coincidence, that is mercy. Allah is Al-Latif, the most subtle. His help often comes quietly, not dramatically. Some people fear peace because they associate intensity with love. They think if something feels calm, it must be empty or boring. But Islam does not glorify emotional turmoil. It values sakina. Love that constantly agitates the heart is not love that nurtures faith. My dear brothers and sisters, pay attention to where your heart finds peace, not where your fear keeps you attached. Fear is loud, peace is gentle. Fear pressures you to stay. Peace invites you to trust. When you choose peace for the sake of Allah, you are not abandoning anyone. You are returning to balance. You are aligning yourself with what Allah wants for you, even if it means walking away from what you once hoped would work. Sometimes Allah removes peace from a situation not to punish you, but to protect you. He allows restlessness so that you do not settle for something that will drain you long term. If Allah wanted you to stay, He would strengthen your heart there, not weaken it. Do not ignore the signals Allah places within you. Peace is not a luxury. It is guidance. When you finally choose what brings you closer to calm, clarity, and trust in Allah, you may realize that the peace you were searching for in others was always meant to be found in obedience, honesty, and letting go of what was never meant to hold your heart. Peace is a sign from Allah. Learn to listen to it. 6. Love should not cost you your dignity. My dear brothers and sisters, dignity is not something you earn from people. It is something Allah already gave you. When He created you, He honored you, and no relationship, no emotion, and no attachment has the right to strip that honor away. Love in Islam is meant to elevate you, not humiliate you. It is meant to strengthen you, not reduce you to someone who is constantly apologizing for existing. If love requires you to beg for attention, tolerate repeated disrespect, or silence your pain just to keep someone close, then that love is costing you something far too valuable. Your dignity is not negotiable. Many people slowly lose their dignity without realizing it. It does not happen all at once. It happens in small compromises. You excuse behavior that hurts you. You accept words that belittle you. You adjust your boundaries again and again, telling yourself that love requires sacrifice. Over time, you stop recognizing yourself. Islam does not teach you to shrink yourself to be loved. It teaches you to stand upright with self-respect. The Prophet never modeled love that involved humiliation or emotional harm. Kindness and dignity always went together. Ask yourself honestly, do you feel respected in this relationship, or do you feel tolerated? Do you feel valued, or do you feel replaceable? Do you feel safe expressing your feelings, or do you feel punished for being honest? If loving someone requires you to abandon your dignity, then what you are protecting is not love, it is fear of loss. Some people confuse humility with humiliation. Humility is lowering your ego before Allah. Humiliation is lowering your worth before people who do not value you. These two are not the same. And Islam never asks you to accept the second in the name of the first. When love is healthy, it does not demand that you chase it. It does not make you feel ashamed of your needs. It does not turn your kindness into a weakness that is exploited. Love that is sincere recognizes boundaries and respects them. My dear brothers and sisters, dignity protects your heart. Once dignity is compromised, resentment grows, self-respect erodes, and faith becomes heavier to carry. A heart that feels dishonored struggles to remain open, trusting, and peaceful. Some people say, but I am just trying to keep the peace. There is a difference between peace and silence. Peace brings calm. Silence hides pain. If you are constantly silencing yourself to avoid conflict, you are not preserving peace. You are sacrificing your dignity. Allah does not ask you to tolerate disrespect to prove your good character. Good character includes knowing when to step back, when to speak up, and when to walk away. Strength in Islam is not loud, but it is firm. Remember this clearly. Anyone who truly loves you will not ask you to degrade yourself to stay close to them. Anyone who values you will not require you to abandon your self-respect. And anyone who repeatedly crosses your boundaries is showing you who they are. Protecting your dignity is not arrogance. It is obedience to the honor Allah placed upon you. When you choose dignity over attachment, you may feel lonely at first, but you will never feel small. And a heart that stands in dignity is far closer to Allah than a heart that stays in humiliation out of fear. Love should never cost you your dignity. When it does, it is time to choose yourself for the sake of Allah. 7. When you let go for Allah, He replaces. My dear brothers and sisters, this is where faith is truly tested. Letting go is not difficult because you do not understand the pain. It is difficult because you fear the emptiness that comes after. You fear the silence. You fear the unknown. You fear that if you release what you are holding on to, nothing better will come. But this fear underestimates Allah. Allah is Al-Razzaq, the provider. He is Al-Hakim, the most wise. When He asks you to let go of something that is harming you, He is not leaving you empty. He is making space. There is a promise in our deen that many people repeat but few truly trust. Whoever leaves something for the sake of Allah, Allah replaces it with something better. Better does not always mean what you expect. Sometimes it means peace instead of chaos. Sometimes it means clarity instead of confusion. Sometimes it means strength instead of dependence. And sometimes it means a person who treats your heart with gentleness instead of pressure. The problem is that many people want the replacement before the surrender. They want certainty before trust. They want guarantees before obedience. But faith does not work that way. Faith begins where control ends. When you hold on to what is breaking you, you are blocking the door for what Allah wants to bring into your life. You cannot receive with clenched hands. You must release first. Some people say, what if nothing better comes? My dear brothers and sisters, nothing is worse than staying in something that slowly destroys your peace and faith. Emptiness with Allah is safer than fullness without Him. Allah never abandons a heart that chooses Him over pain. He never leaves someone who steps back for His sake unsupported. Even when the path feels lonely at first, His care is present in ways you may not recognize immediately. Sometimes the replacement is internal before it is external. Allah replaces confusion with clarity. He replaces emotional dependence with self-respect. He replaces fear with tawakkul. He replaces exhaustion with rest. These changes are not small. They reshape your life. Do not underestimate the power of healing. A healed heart makes better decisions. A healed heart attracts healthier connections. A healed heart worships with sincerity and presence. Letting go for Allah does not mean you will never feel pain. It means your pain will have meaning. It means you are no longer suffering in vain. It means you trust that Allah sees what you cannot see. Remember, Allah is never late. He does not rush and He does not forget. What He withholds now may be protecting you from something that would have harmed you later. What He gives later will come with wisdom, not regret. My dear brothers and sisters, trust the one who created your heart more than the attachment that is hurting it. Trust that He knows what you need, even when letting go feels unbearable. When you choose Allah over what breaks you, you are not losing love. You are finding it in its purest form. And Allah never disappoints a heart that relies on Him. Let go for Allah and watch how He replaces what hurt you with what heals you. My dear brothers and sisters, let me leave you with this reminder. You were not created to live in constant pain. You were not created to be emotionally exhausted, spiritually drained, and quietly breaking while calling it love or patience. Allah created you with honor, purpose, and a heart meant to find peace in Him. If something is hurting you, confusing you, and pulling you away from tranquility, do not ignore that pain. Pain is not always something to endure. Sometimes it is something to listen to. Allah speaks to the heart through clarity, through restlessness, through the quiet realization that something is no longer right. Loving yourself does not mean abandoning faith. Often it means returning to it. It means choosing honesty over denial, dignity over attachment, and trust over fear. It means believing that Allah's plan is bigger than what you are holding on to. Letting go is not easy, and Allah knows that. That is why He promises reward for those who trust Him even when their hearts are trembling. Every tear you shed, every difficult step you take away from what hurts, every moment you choose Allah over pain is seen and recorded. Do not be afraid of the space that follows letting go. That space is where healing begins. That space is where Allah rebuilds you stronger, calmer, and wiser than before. What feels like an ending today may be the beginning of peace you did not think was possible. So love yourself for the sake of Allah. Release what hurts for the sake of Allah. And place your heart back in the hands of the one who never breaks what He loves. May Allah grant you clarity where you are confused, strength where you feel weak, and peace where your heart has been wounded. And may He replace every pain you release with something far better in this life and the next.